Hi, this is Rajat Subra Mukherjee. Welcome you all on SSCN. And today I'm having a special guest with me, the doyen, one of the major doyens of Indian sports, be it cricket, be it hockey, be it athlete. He's the ultimate of Indian sports, Mr. Buria Mojumdar. Buria, welcome to our show. Currently, you are covering Asia Cup from Dubai. But meantime, all of us have witnessed Gala second edition mini auction of HIL. You must be following it from Dubai also. So let me ask you my first question. What is your take on the second edition of HIL mini auctions?
It was interesting because the high point for me was the juniors. Shrachi Tigers picking up somebody whose base price was 2 lakhs, he goes for 23 lakhs. Yeah, Kushwaha goes for 3.5 lakhs. Ketan Kushwaha's life getting changed there. Multiple youngsters getting picked up by these teams. So clearly, the research was showing, compared to the first edition of the auction, you could see teams getting more and more mature. Also, some interesting picks by the Hockey India Governing Council, which is now administering the UP Rudras. So they also made some decent picks, some serious money also spent, right? So overall, I thought it was a more mature auction compared to the first one where money was purged. But I do think that overall Hockey India League is getting mature. It happens with every league. It has happened with the IPL in the past. I saw that with the Hockey India League second mini auction as well. In a mini auction, you can only do up to that point because your team is more or less ready. You have released a few players and you're buying a few players. That's all. But I saw the focus this time round was on India juniors. The focus this time round on dedicated people. Like, for example, again, I'll give the example of Shrachi Tigers. They picked up Tom Grambush for 11 lakhs. That I thought was a fantastic buy. So Ketan Kushwaha, Tom Grambush, these are good players to add to the already winning team. I thought it is now becoming a very, very good side.
So main focus was, as you were saying, that nurturing the young talent and focusing on the experience overseas player. So how do you analyze the overall competitiveness of every team?
I think it's a very, very well balanced league. I mean, and I was sort of checking the team lists of almost all the teams. To be honest, it will be a very open league. Even last year was a very open league. At one point in time, after a fantastic start, the Shrachi Tigers lost a few games, fell back, and then came back again. And the final, you remember, was very competitive. I think the core strength of most teams remain the same. They've released a few players but got many back. Again, the core strength of most teams being almost equal. This is a level playing field. So whether it is the Tamil Nadu team, whether it is the Bengal team, whether it is the UP team, I think each one of these teams have their strengths. Uh, I was a little worried, and I will be honest with you. I was a little worried when the UP Rudras faced what they faced, JK Cement pulling out, and I thought, does this kind of impact the franchise? But it was good to see. And by the way, I'll put this on record. My colleague Gargi Rao did a story also. We spoke to Bholanath Singh. We spoke to Bholanath Singh at length, and he confirmed to us on record that Hockey India Governing Council will take over the team and Hockey India will ensure the financial stability of the players. So that I have to give credit to Hockey India for making it very clear that whether one corporate pulls out or not, they will make sure that this league goes from strength to strength. So overall, the picture that I get is it's a very competitive league, Rajat, and most of the teams are well balanced with a core of Indian youngsters and relatively experienced guys and some international stars. If you take a look, this will help Indian hockey in the long run because when you have international stars interacting with relatively young players, a young goalkeeper, for example, getting that kind of money, and when he interacts with top international stars in a change room, that can only help Indian hockey. Plus, you also have players in your team, and here I mentioned Shrachi Tigers. You have players like Sukhjit, you have players like Abhishek who are doing fantastically well at the international level. In the recently concluded Asia Cup, these guys starred for India. So when you have such players in a dressing room, plus you have international stars who are rubbing shoulders with young people, your bench strength improves and increases. So I think overall, the picture is very clear. strength improves and increases. And that is something that was pointed out to me by Craig Fulton also. Craig mentioned this. You have seen this in the past with the IPL, that when international stars play with relative Indian youngsters, their quality also goes up. So I think this is the larger long term vision of the Hockey India League, and it will create the bench strength that will help Indian hockey going into Los Angeles 28.
Fantastic, the way you are analyzing the whole thing. Can you put some more light on this under 14 player that Shrachi Tigers have picked, Ketan Kushwaha? He is
Yeah,
under 14. He's
yeah,
under 14. Do you have any
yeah.
brief about him?
Yeah, I mean, see. Not that I know everything about Ketan Kushwaha, but what I've read so far, extremely talented. Much like, I will give you a cricketing equivalent. It is like Vaibhav Suryavanshi of Rajasthan Royals. Vaibhav Suryavanshi is also 14 years old. This guy is also under 14. So it is about talent hunt. It also tells me two things, that Deepak, for example, in the Shrachi dugout, or the other mentors, this time you've changed your coach, the international coach, that is, what you have done is you have done your talent scouting really well, that you've been able to identify Ketan Kushwaha. He went for 3.5 lakhs. Imagine this, for a hockey player of 14 years of age, if you're getting 3.5 lakh rupees in an HIL auction, all of a sudden your world lifts. You realize that you have a sterling career in front of you and you can make a splash. And Vaibhav Suryavanshi, to give that cricketing equivalent, became a star of the IPL in the first season itself. Now he's made the Indian team. His career has completely taken off. I will not be surprised at all if Ketan Kushwaha's career takes off similarly. What it also tells me is someone like a PR Srijesh, who's now the coach of the junior team, should keep an eye on such people. So scouting should happen from that level. We have seen great international players come out from a young age and make a splash. Having said that, because I know the Shrachi Tigers team well, I will also say this, that they will have to guard Ketan Kushwaha from too much limelight. He has to have his feet on the ground, not let talent take over, because you get too much money, too much fame, too much adulation at an early age. You are still a formative youngster. Your whole world vision might change and you might lose track. But I was very impressed with the scouting. I whatever I've read of Ketan Kushwaha, he's a superb talent. People tell me that he's a fantastic talent, and if honed properly, he could be of great service to Indian hockey at a time when you really need such talent to come through. Because frankly, look, at this point, the team that you have for India is an aging team. Whether it is Harmanpreet, whether it is anybody else, it is actually an aging team. And Fulton is trying to blood young players into that side going into LA. So if I keep the larger macro picture of Indian hockey in mind, I think people like Ketan Kushwaha, stars of the future like Ketan Kushwaha, should be nurtured. And in that sense, Shrachi did a great job, not just for the franchise, but also from the perspective of Indian hockey.
Another thing, Boria, it is very interesting talking with you as always. Another very interesting is if you go to the part of the Oman team, the Augustina Garzelani, the world best woman drag flicker, Sachi Tigers bought her. So in this year, in the female section, the most of the Latin American player, they are making the headline. How do you see this male and female version of different types?
Okay, firstly, let me make this clear that I was impressed with the fact that Hockey India decided to launch the men and women's leagues together. It has not happened in the past with cricket. It happened with hockey. And I told Dilip, I told Bholanath, I told Commander Srivastav as well, that this is a good step for Indian hockey, that the gender parity was being maintained. Having said that, the number of teams, yes, there was less, 4 and 8. Now it will be 7 and 4. Now the point is, I would want the number of women's teams to be increased to 6 in the coming year. And I'm making this in a public platform. I think for the sake of Indian women's hockey, we need more stars, and that can only happen if the story is aspirational. It can only happen if the number of teams increase and if more and more players come into the mix. So that's my first point. Latin America, I'm not surprised. If you see teams like Argentina, if you see teams from Latin America, you will see the physicality being that much more. And women's hockey has turned into a very physical game. Why only Latin America? If you see some of the European sides that India play against, if you see the Pro League, you will see what I'm talking about. You see the physicality in the women's game has grown manifold, even since Tokyo. Tokyo, when you and I followed the Indian women's campaign, and India lost to GBR and Germany very closely. But since then, if you see the trajectory of Indian women's hockey, you will see that we have not done really well in the recent past. Yes, the Asia Cup in China was a bit of an aberration where India did well. We were even leading 1-0 against China till the 42nd minute of the final. But overall, the picture of Indian women's hockey has not been great with the Pro League and everything else. And that is because the physical aspect of the game has completely transformed the nature of the sport. You mentioned, Augustine, you mentioned about drag flick. Earlier, the number of field goals that you would get to see in women's hockey would be more. Now, again, much like men's hockey, where Harmanpreet Singh is a star, you will see the reliance on short corner conversions, penalty corner conversions. You will see even penalty strokes. You will see, dead ball situations becoming that much more important in women's hockey. So that is a kind of a larger global change. I think we in India need to adapt to that. Again, from the perspective of Indian hockey, the presence of these relatively top quality international drag flickers in an Indian franchise team will ultimately help the Indian youngsters when they rub shoulders with them to improve. So my request to Harinder Singh, the national coach, would be to follow this very, very closely and keep an eye on possible Indian youngsters who can come up, because I do see a dearth of talent. Yes, the Salima Tetes of the world, and the Deepikas of the world and Uditas of the, all of them are great. But I haven't seen, so let me, when I compare the men with the women, I do see Indian women's hockey needs to push itself at least two rungs higher to be competitive at the world level, and the Hockey India League can be a real push or a stimulus to be able to achieve that.
As all of our viewers know that you are covering hockey in different parts of the world, can you tell us one thing? Hockey India League, are we moving in the right direction with this franchisee format?
100%. That is the future. I mean, the Hockey India League, or for that matter, any franchise league for any sport at this point in time, is the future. And it's very straightforward because you are getting world talent to come and interact with Indian talent at a ground level. The Indian youngsters will no longer be in awe of any player. There will not be an aura when you share the dressing room with the best players in the world. You are continuously playing against these best players. So that means when you are playing them in match situations in international competitions, you will not fear them at all. So 100% the Hockey India League is a step in the right direction. Plus, it is making hockey an aspirational tale. Think about it. Shrachi Tigers won last year and got a prize money of 3 crores. The auction purse is of 4 crores. These are serious monies. Hardik Singh gets about 70 plus lakhs. Harmanpreet Singh gets about 78 lakhs. So these are serious monies that I'm talking about. So when you have that kind of money being paid to cricketers, I've got absolute sorry to hockey players, I've got absolutely no debate in saying that the Hockey India League is a step in the right direction. What I want to see, and I'm making it clear, three suggestions for Hockey India. I would now like to see the number of women's teams go up from 4 to 6. I would like to see the number of men's teams go up to 8 again. And I would also want to see these last minute skirmishes like the withdrawal of a corporate not happen, because these create uncertainties in the mind of a player. So from the perspective of good governance, candidate, transparent governance, and good overall functioning of the league, I would want to see more professionals involved in the running of the league.
Finally, Boria, my last question. After the inception of IPL, Indian cricket has witnessed a paradigm shift. Will HIL would be able to replicate that?
To be honest, it has come at the back of some solid Indian performances at the world level. We've got back-to-back medals in two Olympic Games, the only in the country in the world to do that, the men's team that is. No other side, not the Germanys of the world or the Hollands of the world or the Belgians of the world have done that. Only India won back-to-back medals in Tokyo and in Paris. So you already have a very strong base. Now the question is, can you build on that base? And you have the foundation. Can you build the superstructure on that? I think yes, and that is why more focus should also be put on the women's game, because the women's game has not done well after Tokyo. After that miraculous fourth place finish in Tokyo when India beat Australia, the trajectory of the women's game has somewhat gone down. I would want to see that rectified, and I want to see that get better. So, in essence, yes, there is enormous hope and optimism. But one thing is to have hope and optimism, and then the other thing is to see it translate into reality. So, there is plenty of work to be done by the franchise owners owners, by the players, by the management, and of course, people at Hockey India. I wish that happens because hockey is an emotion for us and will forever remain an emotion. And in that sense, it is our national sport, de facto, but it is our national sport. So I would want to see, because I've covered multiple hockey wins, I would want to see India win another medal going forward in LA. And for that to happen, a strong Hockey India League is essential.
Thank you, Boria. Thank you very much. Thank you talking with us. Thank you very much, Boria.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.